Welcome back. This morning, we are remembering a pioneering broadcaster who left an indelible mark on Ohio television and children's programming. Chuck White of WBNS-10TV. His career spanned more than 50 years here at 10TV, but he did so much more off the air, too, for Central Ohio.
This morning, 10TV's Angela Ann shows us how Chuck's legacy continues even stronger today.
Father, what is the origin of the Greek Orthodox Church?
Chuck White spent more than 5 decades at WBNS. He wore many hats: anchor, producer, puppeteer, and mentor.
It's a great honor to have been a part of the history, not only of WBNS-TV, but of the history of this community.
Oh, I love it. It's great. It's great.
In the 1960s, Chuck brought joy to living rooms across Central Ohio as part of Luci's Toyshop, the longest-running children's show.
Hi there, Mr. Tree. We're very glad to see you.
He was the voice of Mr. Tree, that sleepy 7-foot puppet who could only be awakened by song, a moment thousands of children waited for each morning.
I walked right up and said, well, let's talk. But I didn't realize that we needed a special person to be here to actually talk.
Well, how are you? Tell me, what do you like to do?
I thought it was a great replica of the tree and of Mr. Tree. It was fun to see that replica duplicating what was going on some 40, 50 years ago.
Chuck was the first African-American broadcaster in Ohio television.
At the head of the Greek Orthodox Church is Father Anthony Saris.
A true pioneer, breaking barriers while lifting others along the way.
I really didn't have any idea that I was going to wind up on the air, although I thought, you know, if I did that, I could do it. I could do it and do it well.
Over the years, he became more than just a familiar face.
Thank you, Central Ohio.
Beyond the studio, Chuck helped launch the Children's Miracle Network Telethon in 1985, raising millions for local hospitals. And even after retiring, Chuck remained a key fabric of this community, working with groups such as the American Cancer Society, the Urban League, and the Alzheimer's Association.
Last year at the food parade, we raised over 62,000 items of food. We just want to hit 62,000 items or more this year to date.
Chuck White may be gone, but his spirit and his stories will live on. His contagious laugh and a deep love for Central Ohio, inspiring generations along the way.
Community service is the rent that we pay for occupying space on this planet, and that to me just about says it all. We all need to be our brother and sister's keeper.
Joy this morning to watch that with another 10TV legend who works so closely with Chuck White. And just if you could hear her observations about Chuck. So glad that you could come in this morning to talk with us.
Thanks for having me.
So you were Community Affairs Director after Chuck retired. Can you talk about just the awesome task of following in his footsteps?
Awesome does not even begin to describe it, Tracy. I mean, Chuck had huge, huge shoes to fill. He was a legend, and everybody knew him, and he knew everybody. And you saw the programs that he worked with, the programs that he created, the programs that he grew, the food parade, the Children's Hospital Telethon, the fan drive for Life Care Alliance. These were all programs that had Chuck White's name attached to them, the 10TV name attached to them. And it was filling his shoes, definitely a daunting task for me. I didn't know what I was doing. But fortunately for me, Chuck took me under his wing, and I still had time to learn before he officially retired. And every day was like Chuck White Community Affairs boot camp for me.
Okay. And a lot of nonprofits benefited from having his endless support. Can you talk a little bit about what he shared with you about what was driving him to do that kind of work?
You know, the thing is, I always just said to myself, Chuck feels it and he gets it. Chuck knew exactly what the needs of Central Ohio were, and he also knew that he had the station and the family power to be able to make that work. So he knew that there were hungry people in Central Ohio. So he worked with the Mid-Ohio Food Bank to do the food parade, which we did every year out in front of the station, which was great. People bringing their non-perishable items. It was a party out there. He knew that there were elderly and shut-in people who didn't have air conditioning or couldn't afford to run their air conditioning if they did have it. So we did the fan drive. And then, of course, there was the Jefferson Awards to honor all those unsung heroes out in the community who were helping their friends and neighbors. And the telethon. I could go on and on and on and on and on. But Chuck understood that there were needs out there and that 10TV had the power and the people and the resources to help meet those needs. He knew the needs on a one-to-one level because he talked to those folks, and he also knew it on a larger scale too, and he was going to do something about it.
Well, one thing I also think we should talk about is just the defining career that he had as the first black journalist on TV in the state of Ohio. I mean, that's a defining moment.
Oh, that's huge. That's huge. And to be a black child growing up here in Columbus, as I did, and to see a black face on TV. Channel 4 had Ann Walker, another one of my mentors, and then 10TV had Chuck White. It was a very small group back then. So I just remember being a little girl and saying, to my mother, look, there's a black man on television. And that, to me, was significant because it meant that there was somebody who, as I like to think of it, had our back. There was somebody out there who understood this community more than a lot of other folks would. And there was somebody out there who gave us a voice and made us more visible. And that was Chuck White.
And so for those in my generation, we had you, Chuck, but we thought this is something we can do.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It gave us hope that there was something that we could do that we had never thought about doing before because we didn't have that image in front of us.
Can you share with us just a little bit about your friendship with Chuck?
How much time do we have? How long
They'll
is
rap
this show?
me.
They'll rap you?
I might listen to them.
We haven't been rapped in a long time.
I know, that's all like, uh-oh, careful.
Well, first, you have to understand that my relationship with Chuck White went way, way back before I even came to work at 10TV. It was completely one-sided. As a little girl, my sisters and I would sit in front of the television set and watch Luci's Toyshop. And there was Chuck White. There was this man who had a guitar and sang, and sometimes he'd have one of his sons on with him. He was the voice of just about every puppet, I think, that was on Luci's Toyshop, and he was Mr. Tree. And the highlight of watching Luci's Toyshop for me and my sisters was watching Mr. Tree, because Mr. Tree was always asleep, and you had to sing to him to wake him up. And that's what we would have to do. So that's when of course, I didn't know Chuck White was Mr. Tree. I didn't know I didn't know he was in that tree. But then later on, we got to know each other as I got into the business. And then when I came here to work at 10TV, he would have me MC different events that the station was involved in. And we did the telethon and the food parade and all that. But when I was tapped to succeed him, that's when I got to be not just friends with Chuck White, but buddies with Chuck White. We spent a lot of time together while he was schooling me, and he took me to school every day. And then we would sometimes move the classroom outside 770 Twin Rivers Drive and go to dinner at Lindy's or go to the Rusty Bucket with some of the sales staff, and that's where he would tell me the real deal, what was really going on. That's where I got the skinny on everything. But Chuck got to be one of those people, even after he left, we would spend time together. We would meet for dinner every once in a while with Jackie Popa Armstrong, another one of our co-workers here. He loved music, and he was quite a musician. He was a folk singer, believe it or not. Puffy sleeves and the whole bit.
Oh, I love it.
And we would talk about music, and we would talk about just growing up black in this country and everything all the changes we had seen. But for the most part, he was one of the most caring, funny, wicked sense of humor. One of the most caring, funniest people, kindest people, most genuine people I had ever been blessed to know.
That is really incredible. So Chuck White, without a doubt, family man. His son Michael told us that everyone, he was Chuck White on TV, but to them he was just dad.
He was just dad. Boy, did he love his family. I got so tired of listening about Craig and Brian and Michael and Craig and Brian. Oh my goodness, man, just give it a I know them. I know their names. I know their whole life stories. But no, that's just how proud he was of his boys. Loved his boys, loved his wife, Bernice, who we laughingly call Bernice, and they were great, great partners. His granddaughters, you would think that he was the only grandfather on the planet. He was an incredible grandfather, loved those girls. And I think that was the thing about Chuck that I loved the most. I don't want to say that he was a father figure because he would say he wasn't old enough to be my father.
I love that.
He would tell me that to my face. But to see him with his boys and to hear him talk about his boys and how proud he was, and I knew where they were just about every second of every day because Chuck would tell me.
Well,
they were blessed to have him as their dad.
It's amazing. And it was a blessing to have you come in and talk with us today.
Thank you so much.
So wonderful.
Thank you so much, Tracy.
Wonderful.
Appreciate it.